If you want a better tomorrow, you must nurture habits that serve your highest vision. Wealth, freedom, and fulfillment are not found in fleeting luck. They are found in consistent action guided by principle. You do not get rich by chasing money. You get rich by becoming the person who commands it. Today, I want you to see success not as a destination, but as a system grounded in thought, refined by habits, and powered by discipline. This is the formula that turns ordinary men and women into architects of their own fortunes. The small decisions you make each day, the disciplines you embrace, the habits you protect, are the seeds of extraordinary wealth. I remember my early days when I was young and ambitious, working hard but never seeming to have enough left over. It wasn't until someone sat me down and said, "The key isn't more dollars, it's better discipline," that it hit me. You can always spend more, but you must learn to deliberately spend less. The wealthy have mastered this. They don't rush to upgrade every time their income grows. Instead, they carve out a margin, a space where saving, investing, and contributing take priority before spending. Now let me make it practical. If you earn $1,000, don't train yourself to live on $1,000. That's poverty disguised as comfort. Train yourself to live on $700 and let the other $300 be divided among savings, investing, and contribution. This discipline doesn't just build financial stability, it builds character. Every dollar you save is a vote for your future. Every dollar you invest is a seed planted in tomorrow's harvest. Every dollar you give is a declaration that money is your servant, not your master. The tragedy is many people say, "I'll save and invest when I make more money." But that's like saying, "I'll exercise when I get healthier." No, you begin now with what you have, and it grows from there. If you can't manage $1,000 wisely, chances are you won't manage $10,000 wisely either. It isn't the amount, it's the practice. Discipline with a small paycheck lays the foundation for wisdom with a big one. Here's a challenge you can start immediately. Look at your expenses this week and cut just one thing, something you don't truly need. Maybe it's a subscription you never use, or the habit of eating out too often, or that impulse purchase that steals from your goals. Take that money, whether it's $20 or $200, and move it straight into a savings account or an investment jar. That's the first step to proving to yourself that you control your money instead of letting it control you. Living on less than you earn isn't punishment. It's power. It's the freedom to say yes to opportunity when it comes. It's the peace of mind that emergencies don't destroy you. It's the quiet confidence that while others scramble from paycheck to paycheck, you are building a reserve, a future, a legacy. The ancient rule of wealth still works today. Spend less than you make and direct the rest toward growth. Discipline today creates freedom tomorrow. That is the true beginning of wealth. When I first began working, I thought wages were the ultimate reward. After all, that paycheck looked good at the end of the week. But over time, I discovered something that changed my life forever. Wages make you a living, but profits make you a fortune. And once I saw the difference, I could never go back to thinking the same way. A wage is a fair exchange. You give your hours, you receive a paycheck. But the moment you stop giving those hours, the paycheck stops. That means your income is chained to your presence, your energy, your time. Now, there's nothing wrong with wages. They provide stability and they put food on the table. But the real game of wealth begins when you step into profits. Profits mean that something you've built, something you've owned, something you've created continues to produce income even when you're asleep, traveling, or spending time with your family. That's when money starts working for you instead of you always working for money. I'll never forget my mentor asking me, "What do you own that works for you while you're not working?" At the time, I didn't have an answer, and that stung. Because the wealthy always ask that question. They don't measure just by how many hours they can work. They measure by how much their assets can earn while they're free. That's the shift. And it doesn't take $1 million to start. It just takes an idea, a seed, and the discipline to let it grow. You see, a part-time enterprise is where many fortunes are born. Too many people dismiss the small beginnings. They say it's only a few dollars, and they let the idea die. But every farm started with a single seed, and every fortune started with something small. A product sold, a service offered, a piece of land purchased, a royalty collected. I began my first venture by selling a simple product in my spare time. It wasn't glamorous, and the money was modest, but the lesson was priceless. I learned that even small profits were different from wages because they weren't tied to hours, they were tied to value, and value can scale. The strategy is simple. Build something beyond wages. It could be as small as selling something in your neighborhood or as bold as buying a piece of land or starting a business. The key is ownership. Ownership gives you leverage. A book you write can sell copies for years. A rental property can pay rent month after month. A digital product can reach thousands while you sleep. That's profit. That's fortune. And here's how to make it practical. Don't wait until conditions are perfect. Don't wait for the big idea or the big capital. Start small. Start with peanuts. Sell something in your spare time. Test the waters. Let that little stream of profit teach you what wages never can. The joy of multiplication. Because peanuts, when planted, can become a farm. And a farm can become acres. And acres can become abundance. The mistake is thinking small beginnings don't matter. They do. They matter more than you realize. Because they train your mind and your habits for bigger ventures. The reason profits are better than wages is because profits have no ceiling. Your boss may set the wage, but you set the profit. Your enterprise, your creativity, your discipline determine the scale. And the satisfaction of knowing you've built something that keeps working while you rest is worth more than numbers in a bank account. It's freedom. So yes, wages will feed you, but profits will free you. And if you want a fortune, if you want true independence, start where you are, with what you have, and begin building something beyond wages. That's where the real wealth journey begins. When I was young and struggling to get by, I believed the secret was to work harder, put in more hours, and keep pushing. And while hard work has its place, I soon discovered that hard work alone is not enough. The wealthy didn't seem to work harder than everyone else. They worked differently. They had discovered the art of leverage. One man with a shovel can dig a hole. 10 men with shovels can dig 10 holes. But one man with a machine can dig 100 holes in the same time. That's leverage. It's the principle of multiplying your results without multiplying your effort. It's how wealth grows exponentially instead of linearly. I'll tell you what shifted me. There was a time I was spending countless hours trying to do everything myself. Every letter typed, every phone call made, every detail handled personally. I thought I was saving money, but in reality, I was spending the most expensive resource of all, my time. And then one day, my mentor asked me a question that cut straight to the heart. Why are you doing $10 tasks when you have the capacity for $1,000 ideas? That's when I understood. The true cost of doing everything myself wasn't financial, it was opportunity. I was robbing myself of the chance to think bigger, to build systems, to multiply. Leverage comes in many forms. You can leverage people by building a team, hiring help, or seeking out experts who can do in 1 hour what it might take you 5. You can leverage systems, automations, processes, routines that handle repetitive work while you focus on growth. You can leverage tools, machines, technology, platforms that multiply your reach far beyond your individual effort. The wealthy understand this instinctively. They ask, who or what can help me get this done better, faster, or at scale? That's the difference. And leverage isn't just about business, it's about life. If you can free up 1 hour a day by outsourcing, by delegating, by automating, that's 1 hour you can reinvest into learning a skill, building a project, nurturing a relationship, or simply resting so you come back stronger. I once hired someone to handle a routine task that drained me. The cost seemed high at first, but within weeks, I realized the value of having that time back. It gave me the freedom to focus on creating new opportunities that paid me many times more than what I had spent. That's the magic of leverage. It multiplies you. Now, here's the practical step. Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start small. Pick one task this week that drains your energy but doesn't require your unique gift. Outsource it. Delegate it. Automate it. Even if it's something as simple as having your groceries delivered, or paying someone to design a logo, or using software to schedule your tasks. Test the principle of leverage in one small area, and then expand it gradually. Over time, you'll find yourself building a system around you that allows you to focus your energy on the highest value activities. The truth is, no one becomes wealthy by working harder than everyone else. They become wealthy by working smarter, by multiplying their effort through people, systems, and tools. If one man with a shovel can dig 1 hole, and another with a machine can dig 100, the lesson is simple. Don't spend your life with a shovel when the world is full of machines. Learn the art of leverage, and watch your efforts multiply into results you could never achieve alone. I used to think wealth was about money alone. The bigger the paycheck, the more prosperous the life. But over the years I discovered that wealth doesn't grow out of money alone. It grows out of order. Disorder is like a leak in the bucket. You can pour as much water as you want, but if the holes remain, it will keep dripping away. The same is true of finances. Disorder drains wealth quietly, invisibly, sometimes without you even noticing until the bucket is nearly empty. Wealthy people know this, so they live in order. Their accounts are in place, their records are straight, their priorities are clear. It isn't just about what they earn, it's about the structure they build to preserve and multiply it. I remember in my early years, I was making some money, but always seemed to be broke. Not because the income wasn't enough, but because the outgo wasn't being tracked. Bills would pile up, receipts would vanish, and I'd forget about commitments until it was too late. My financial life was chaos. Then, under the guidance of a mentor, I was taught a simple principle. Order is the foundation of stewardship. If you don't know where your money is, you're not in control of it, it's in control of you. That lesson hit me hard. So I began to organize. I listed everything I owned and everything I owed. I put my documents in one place. I created a simple system. One folder for savings, one for investments, one for expenses, one for taxes. At first it felt unnecessary, but within months I saw the difference. No more late fees, no more surprises, no more scrambling to remember where things were. Suddenly my money felt bigger because I wasn't losing it to carelessness. And more than that, I had clarity. I could see where I was strong and where I was weak. I could plan instead of react. That's when my financial world began to grow, not because I was earning more, but because I was managing better. Order also brings peace. Have you ever noticed how disorder creates stress? A cluttered desk, a messy room, a scattered plan. It makes the mind restless. Financial disorder does the same. It keeps you up at night, wondering if you forgot a bill, if you're overspending, if you're drifting without direction. But when everything is in place, you sleep differently. You know where you stand. And when you know where you stand, you can take your next step with confidence. Here's the practical step. Don't wait until your finances are big to get them in order. Start where you are. Take one evening this week and create a binder or digital folder for your financial documents. Put your bank statements in one place, your debts in another, your investments in another. Make it simple, but consistent. Once everything is in order, review it regularly, once a week, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Wealth doesn't grow in chaos. It grows in clarity. The truth is, money loves discipline, and discipline begins with order. If you bring order to your financial life, you'll stop the leaks, gain clarity, and build a foundation where wealth can multiply. Wealth doesn't grow where there's noise and confusion. It grows where order exists. I've always believed that money, by itself, is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's simply a tool. But the way you use it, that's what determines whether it enlarges you or diminishes you. I learned long ago that money that stops with you, that never flows beyond your own hands, has a way of shrinking your life. You may have comfort, you may even have luxury, but something is missing. It's like eating all the seed and never planting any of it. You may be full for the moment, but you've robbed yourself of a future harvest. Wealth without contribution, I've discovered, is poverty in disguise. The wealthy understand this. They don't just make money to build bigger houses or drive nicer cars, though there's nothing wrong with enjoying the fruit of your labor. But beyond that, they know the joy of giving, of using their resources to lift others, to create opportunity, to spread hope. And the amazing thing is this: when money flows through you, it doesn't diminish you, it enlarges you. Contribution makes wealth meaningful. It transforms success into significance. I remember when I was younger and just beginning to earn, I thought contribution was for later, when I had enough. But a mentor challenged me. If you can't give a dime out of a dollar, you'll never give 100,000 out of a million. That hit me hard. Contribution isn't about the amount, it's about the heart. It's about building the habit. If you give when it's small, you'll give when it's big. If you wait until it's big, you may never give at all. So I started small. A little here, a little there. Sometimes it was just helping a neighbor. Sometimes it was supporting a cause. And here's what I found. Every time I gave, I didn't feel smaller, I felt bigger. My world expanded. I was no longer living just for myself. I was part of something larger. And almost mysteriously, giving seemed to open doors. Opportunities came back, relationships deepened, and resources multiplied. It was as though the very act of giving created room for more to flow in. Now, here's the strategy. Set aside a portion of your income, not just for saving and investing, but for giving. Treat contribution as seriously as you do saving. Even if it's just a small percentage, make it intentional. When you get your paycheck, don't wait until the end of the month to see what's left over. Decide in advance. Put aside something for contribution, just like you would for investment. That way, giving becomes part of your financial design, not an afterthought. And here's the practical step. Pick one cause this month. It doesn't have to be something huge. It could be your church, a family in need, a scholarship fund, or even a community project. Give something, not because they need it, but because you do. Because contribution keeps your heart open, your mind expansive, and your wealth flowing. Remember this, money is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. When it stops with you, it begins to master you. When it flows through you, it becomes your servant in the highest sense. True wealth isn't measured only in dollars. It's measured in the lives you touch and the difference you make. Wealth without contribution is just another form of poverty. Real wealth grows when you give it away. Let me tell you something that changed the course of my financial life forever. You can't improve what you won't measure. I meet people all the time who say they want to be wealthy, but when I ask them, what's your net worth today? Or what's your monthly surplus or deficit? They just shrug. They say things like, well, I think I'm doing okay. Let me tell you, I think is not a number. Maybe is not a strategy. Hope is not a financial plan. If you want to build wealth, if you want to be free in 12 months or 12 years, you must begin with the truth. The truth about where you stand today. When I was younger, I avoided this step. I didn't want to face the reality. It felt uncomfortable. I knew I had bills. I knew I was behind. But I thought if I just worked harder, it would take care of itself. But the problem with denial is that it doesn't change the facts. It only delays the confrontation. A mentor once told me, face the numbers or the numbers will face you. That woke me up. I pulled out every statement, every bill, every paycheck stub, and I laid them on the table. It was painful, but it was also liberating. Because the moment I knew exactly where I was, I had a starting point. And once you know the starting point, you can plot the course to any destination. So here's what you must do. Sit down this week and make 4 lists. First, write down all your assets, everything you own that has value. Your savings, your investments, your home equity, even that old car that still runs. Next, write down your debts, credit cards, loans, mortgages, everything you owe. Third, list your income, all the sources, whether it's wages, side hustles, or dividends. Finally, write down your expenses. Be honest. Don't skip the coffee runs. Don't ignore the subscriptions you've forgotten about. Every dollar counts. Now, calculate your net worth. Assets minus debts. It doesn't matter if the number is small or even negative. What matters is you now have clarity. Then calculate your monthly surplus or deficit. Are you living above your means or are you creating margin? Don't just guess, know it. And here's a simple but powerful exercise. Track every dollar you spend for 30 days. Every dollar. Carry a little notebook or use an app if you like. But write it down. You'll be amazed how much leaks out unnoticed. That's the money that could have been invested or saved or contributed. Once you see it on paper, it's impossible to deny. Finally, build yourself a 1-page financial dashboard. Keep it simple. Your net worth, your income, your expenses, your surplus, 1 page, reviewed every week. Not once a year, not once a quarter, every week. Why? Because what you measure regularly improves. It's a law. Awareness creates discipline. When I started reviewing my numbers weekly, something shifted. I began making different decisions. I cut things I didn't need. I redirected resources into savings and investments. And within months, I could see progress. Not because my income doubled overnight, but because my awareness created better choices. And better choices, repeated consistently, create wealth. So don't skip this step. Face the numbers. Put them in front of you. Review them often, because if you can measure it, you can improve it. And if you can improve it, you can transform it. Wealth begins not with income, but with clarity. When I first started earning a little money, I thought the key to getting ahead was simply to be disciplined enough to set some aside. I told myself, this month, I'll save. But then the bills came, and after the bills, the groceries. And after the groceries, the little treats and splurges. By the end of the month, nothing was left. Maybe you've felt the same. The truth is, intention is good, but automation beats intention every time. If you rely on discipline alone, life will eat up your best plans. But if you put the right systems in place, you don't have to remember, you don't have to decide, you don't even have to resist temptation, because the money is gone before you can spend it. That's what it means to pay yourself first. The greatest mistake people make is waiting until the month is over to see what's left to save. Let me save you some trouble. There will never be anything left. The car will need repairs. The kids will need shoes. The phone will need an upgrade. Life has a way of filling every dollar you don't assign. That's why wealthy people reverse the order. They save and invest first and live on what's left. And when you do that, something almost miraculous happens. You adjust. You find a way to make the rest work. But if you don't, you'll never get started. Here's how simple it can be. On payday, set up an automatic transfer. 15 to 20% goes directly into your investments, your wealth building account. You don't touch it. You don't debate it. It just happens. Another 5 to 10% goes into your learning account, because the best investment you'll ever make is in your own mind. Buy books, courses, mentorships, seminars, things that sharpen your edge. And if contribution is part of your philosophy, and it should be, set aside your giving percentage too. Decide it once, automate it, and let it run. And here's a little trick that works wonders. Every quarter, raise your investment rate by 1%. Just one. If you're saving 15% now, make it 16 next quarter. 16 becomes 17. 17 becomes 18. It's small enough you hardly feel it, but over a few years, the impact is enormous. That's how fortunes are built. Not with one giant leap, but with steady, automated increases that compound quietly in the background. When I finally adopted this principle, my whole financial life shifted. I remember the first time I looked at my account and realized I had invested money without even thinking about it. While I was working, while I was living my life, my system was working harder than I was. That's when I understood automation is like planting a tree that grows while you sleep. You water it once, you set the system, and time does the rest. The reason most people never build wealth is not that they lack intelligence or opportunity. It's that they don't protect themselves from their own impulses. Automation is protection. It takes the decision out of your hands and puts it into a system that serves you. And once you have that in place, you're no longer hoping to save, you're saving. You're no longer planning to invest, you're investing. You're no longer promising to give, you're giving. So if you want to change your financial destiny, don't wait for more willpower. Set up the system. Pay yourself first. Automate it. And watch as over time, those quiet transfers become the foundation of your freedom. When I was a young man, I discovered that ignorance is the most expensive thing you can buy. It doesn't send you a bill in the mail, but it shows up in the form of missed opportunities, bad decisions, unnecessary losses, and years wasted. And the tragedy is, many people never realize that what they call bad luck is simply the cost of not knowing. The wealthy understand this better than anyone. They know that money is a language, and if you don't learn to speak it, you'll always be at the mercy of those who do. Think about it. If you were dropped in a foreign country where you didn't understand the language, what would happen? You'd get lost, you'd pay too much, you'd be taken advantage of, and yet, most people live their entire financial life in that condition, operating in a world of money without understanding how it works. They depend on guesswork, hearsay, or worse, on the advice of someone just as uninformed as they are. That's not a plan for freedom. That's a plan for frustration. The cure? Commit to learning the language of money every single day. Set aside 60 minutes, not once a month, not once a week, but daily. 1 hour to study the things that directly affect your future. Rotate your topics so you build a broad foundation. Personal finance, investing, tax basics, negotiation, learn how to read a financial statement, how compounding works, how taxes really operate, and how to negotiate a deal. Just 1 hour a day. Do you know what that adds up to? Over 365 hours a year. That's 9 full 40-hour work weeks spent learning the very thing that controls your destiny. Imagine where you'd be a year from now if you made that investment. Now, it's not enough to just consume information. You must put it into practice. Every lesson you study, write down one action you can take and then apply it. Maybe you learn about budgeting. Apply it by tracking your spending for 30 days. Maybe you study investing. Apply it by opening an account and putting in a small amount. Maybe you read about negotiation. Apply it the next time you talk to a client or even when you're buying a car. Knowledge without action is wasted potential, but knowledge put to work becomes wealth. Here's another principle. Dedicate 5 to 10% of your income to self-education. Now that may sound like a lot, but think about what people spend on entertainment, on eating out, on impulse purchases. If you can spend money to escape your life for a weekend, surely you can invest money to change your life forever. Buy the books, attend the seminars, join the mentorships, invest in the courses. Don't see it as an expense, see it as a seed. $100 invested in your mind can produce thousands in return because it multiplies your ability to make better decisions for the rest of your life. I can still remember when I bought my very first business book. At the time, I thought, this is expensive. But what I didn't realize was that the $20 I spent would save me thousands of dollars in mistakes later on. That's the true return on education. The poor say, books are too expensive. The wealthy say, mistakes are too expensive. And the difference in philosophy makes all the difference in results. So let me ask you, how fluent are you in the language of money? Can you read a balance sheet? Do you know how to spot a good investment? Can you sit down at the table of opportunity and negotiate with confidence? If the answer is no, then you're still financially illiterate, no matter how much you earn. But the good news is, literacy is available to anyone willing to study. Money speaks a language. It rewards those who understand it and punishes those who don't. So make a decision tonight. 1 hour a day, every day. Dedicate a portion of your income to your education. Summarize your lessons, apply at least one action from each, and keep building. Do this for a year, and you'll no longer be financially lost. You'll have a vocabulary, a fluency, a confidence that attracts wealth instead of losing it. And remember, ignorance is expensive, but learning pays for itself 1,000 times over. If there's one principle that separates the wealthy from everyone else, it's this: they don't invest occasionally, they invest consistently. Most people wait for the perfect time. They say, I'll start when I get a raise, or I'll begin after the bills calm down, or I'll jump in when the market is better. But here's the truth: the perfect time never arrives. The wealthy know that wealth isn't built in sudden leaps. It's built in steady, disciplined steps. Think about compounding. Compounding is one of the wonders of the world, but it only works if you feed it. It's like a machine that multiplies your money quietly in the background, but it needs both money and time to do its work. If you starve it by inconsistency, it never reaches its full potential. Imagine planting a tree. If you water it daily, even with small amounts, it grows tall and strong. But if you water it once in a while, whenever you feel like it, it dries out and never becomes what it could have been. Investing works the same way. Now let me give you a very simple strategy. It's called dollar cost averaging. That means you set aside a fixed amount of money every single month and invest it into a broad, reliable vehicle like an index fund or your chosen long-term asset. Some months the market will be high and you'll buy fewer shares. Other months it will be low and you'll buy more shares. Over time, this steadiness beats the guesswork of trying to time the market. And here's the best part. You don't have to be brilliant to win this game. You just have to be consistent. I can tell you from experience, the small amounts matter. Early in my career, I didn't have much to invest, but I made it a point to start anyway. Even if it was just $50 a month, I treated it like a bill I owed to my future self. Years later, I looked back and realized those small, almost invisible investments had grown into something substantial. That's the quiet miracle of compounding. It works while you sleep, while you work, even while you worry. But it only works if you keep feeding it. Reinvesting dividends is another discipline that turns small into large. When your investments produce income, don't rush to spend it. Let it buy more shares. Let it keep working for you. Every reinvested dividend is like hiring another worker for your financial team, and before long you'll have an army building your fortune without you lifting a finger. But let me give you a word of caution. Consistency requires obedience to the plan. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. Some months you'll wonder if it's even working. But wealth is rarely loud. It's quiet, disciplined, and patient. The trap for many people is they abandon their plan too early. They stop investing when the market dips, forgetting that's when the best bargains are available. Or they withdraw too soon, robbing themselves of the long-term magic. So here's the challenge. Pick a percentage of your income, 10, 15, or 20%, and commit to investing it every single month, no matter what. Automate it so it happens without you thinking about it. Treat it like gravity, non-negotiable. Don't let emotions, fear, or impatience interrupt the process. And when doubt creeps in, remind yourself, compounding only needs two things, money and time. If you give it both, it will do the heavy lifting for you. At the end of the day, the wealthy aren't those who take big risks or chase quick wins. They're the ones who practice boring consistency, month after month, year after year. And one day, they wake up to find their tree of wealth tall, strong, and bearing fruit for generations. Consistency beats brilliance. Steadiness beats spurts. So start now. Invest faithfully. Reinvest diligently. And let compounding write your wealth story. Let me share something that many overlook when chasing wealth. The greatest danger isn't how much you earn. It's how much you spend. And more importantly, how quickly your mind adjusts to spending it. I've seen people rise in income and almost simultaneously rise in expense. It's subtle at first. A slightly nicer car, a fancier dinner here and there. The mind gets accustomed to new comforts, and suddenly what was once a treat becomes the standard. This is what I call lifestyle creep, the silent thief of wealth. If you don't guard your mind, no raise, bonus, or windfall will ever make you richer. Your habits will outspend any increase in income. The wealthy understand that habits precede outcomes. You can't out-earn a spending habit that grows unchecked. That's why it's critical to set a standard of living cap. Decide today what your spending ceiling will be until your freedom date, until you reach the point where your assets and passive income sustain your life. Treat this cap like a boundary in the sand. Don't cross it until your financial goals are secure. It's a mental discipline more than a financial one because wealth is first won in the mind before it appears in the bank account. Next, create friction for impulse buys. Make every non-essential purchase deliberate. Ask yourself, do I need this Or do I want it because it's convenient, fashionable, or emotionally satisfying? Delay every impulse for 24 hours. If you still want it after the wait, then consider. Most of the time, the desire evaporates when the mind has space to evaluate. By doing this, you train your mind to distinguish between temporary pleasure and lasting value. Replace consumption time with creation time. Instead of scrolling endlessly or watching the world spend its money, spend that hour creating something of value. Write, design, build, learn, or improve your skills. The wealthy understand that every hour invested in creation compounds, while every hour in passive consumption diminishes not just your wealth, but your potential. When your time is spent creating, you reinforce habits that multiply income instead of eroding it. I'll tell you a personal example. Early in my career, every dollar I earned could have been spent on new suits, entertainment, or gadgets. Instead, I deliberately capped my lifestyle. I funneled the difference into investments, books, and seminars. I created a friction point. Every dollar not in my pocket had to prove it could produce more wealth. The result? My savings grew, my mind disciplined itself, and I cultivated habits that compounded into real financial freedom over decades. Wealth isn't about living lavishly today. It's about living wisely today so you can live abundantly tomorrow. Your mind must lead your spending, not follow it. Guard it fiercely, control your impulses, and replace consumption with creation. Discipline your habits and your bank account. Your freedom and your legacy will follow. Let's talk about reflection and course correction, one of the most underestimated pillars of building wealth. Many people live life like a sailboat without a rudder. The winds of circumstance push them this way and that, and they hope they end up somewhere prosperous. Experience alone doesn't make you wealthy. Evaluated experience does. You must intentionally pause, assess, and correct your course. This is what separates those who merely survive financially from those who thrive. Reflection begins with daily observation. Spend 10 minutes each night journaling. Don't just note what happened. Capture your wins, your lessons, and one action you can take tomorrow to correct a mistake or improve a process. This small habit creates awareness. Awareness is the first step toward change. I remember early in my career, I was so focused on making money that I rarely paused to see how my decisions aligned with my larger goals. By introducing a nightly journal, I could see patterns, expenses creeping up, procrastination eating my time, opportunities I let slip. Once I could see them, I could act to improve. Course correction is equally important. Weekly, set aside a money hour. Review your cash flow, net worth, investments, debts, and savings. Measure your progress against your goals. Identify what worked, what didn't, and decide what to do differently next week. Without this structured assessment, your financial life drifts. It's easy to make small mistakes that compound over months or years if you don't stop to correct them. A minor misstep unchecked can turn into a serious detour from your financial destiny. The philosophy is simple. Wealth is built not only by doing, but by observing and adjusting. Life will always throw variables at you. Market fluctuations, unexpected expenses, opportunities you didn't anticipate. The disciplined individual reflects, learns, and recalibrates. Every successful person I know has a system of evaluation. They don't rely on luck or hope. They rely on disciplined assessment and timely adjustments. Practical application is straightforward. Spend 10 minutes nightly reflecting on 3 things: what went right, what went wrong, and one adjustment you can make tomorrow. Then, during your weekly money hour, assess your progress toward your long-term goals. Identify trends in spending, saving, and investing. Adjust your plan before small issues become large problems. Over time, these incremental adjustments compound into significant financial advantage. Reflection and course correction create mastery over your finances and your life. It transforms mistakes into lessons and actions into results. Wealth grows not just from earning or saving, but from disciplined evaluation, learning, and continuous improvement. When you consistently apply this habit, you not only protect what you have, but you accelerate your path to the wealth and freedom you seek.